How about this callback, huh? Yeah. So yeah, I cannot remember the last time I played this tank. All I know is it predates me putting my number 4 on tanks, so... Or at least I never played this thing enough to bother with putting the number 4 on it, which also might be the case. So, kind of makes me laugh. I'll update it and put the on-air decal and such after this battle, but I just wanted to show the double red star that I put on here for, I don't know, whatever reason, forever ago. So yeah, anyway, look back video for the SU-85, because I haven't done a look back in a while, and I was actually randomly just scrolling back through old comments or something like that. Can't even remember this morning. I found the comment that said, hey, you know what you should do a look back on is the SU-85, and I was like, yeah, I haven't done a look back video in a while. There we go. So here it is. You asked for a look back on the SU-85, and I'm going to deliver. As I press the button to fire. Every time, man. I press the button to fire and I get hit. And it's a one-hit kill. Every time. Every time. This should lend itself slightly better to the poor gun depression of the SU-85 here. A little bit of a flatter map, so it's good. A little more time to get a gun on target before getting hit by somebody else. Anyway, whatever. Oh, that was a close one. That is somebody, isn't it? No, it's not either. But apparently that was. Alright, this last battle ends up having to be a replay and a post-narrate, unfortunately, because the recording was completely corrupted, sadly. But it was good, and as you will see, this battle turned out quite well. I decided to push way up north and see if I could be off to the side sniping kind of support, sort of like generally what you want to do with one of these if you can help it. Obviously it's not a brawler, so as long as your team has vehicles which are capable of brawling and those players choose to actually go do the brawling they are supposed to do, you can go off to the side and support your team and contribute in the way that your vehicle was meant to contribute, and I was actually able to do that here. The only thing that's kind of spoiled by the fact that this is coming from the replay is the part where you can obviously see all the enemies before I can see them, or you can see them before they come into play in the battle. Like, for instance, eventually there's a Dicker Max that the impact of me spotting him is greatly lessened by the fact that you can see his name and what vehicle he is, because when you do see him and see where I spotted him and shot him, you'll see how it kind of had a better impact. It was more of a moment in the actual game here. But anyway, we'll skip ahead till the actual action happens. So we've arrived at position, scanning. There's nobody obviously visible, and like I said, you can see where enemies are, although you still can't actually see them in the gun sight or anything between the trees or houses or other stuff blocking. Now I could see just enough of that guy to shoot and do a slight bit of damage and realized I'd fired too low. And then somebody killed him, so apparently my hit marked him and there's an assist anyway, so there's that. And then a little bit more scanning back and forth, and there was a lot of just sitting here watching through binoculars. So I'll skip most of that just for the sake of... It's sort of interesting when it's happening, but it's not really interesting to watch in a repeat, so we'll leave it out. So I could definitely hear an engine coming here. I try to sneak over here and drive between these two rocks. Now I stop here and wait for my engine to take forever to rev down to listen, and sure enough, I can still hear the engine nearby. And then you can see him coming. So I backed off thinking he could see me because he's looking this way. Then he takes a hit and turns his turret towards it, and I think, okay, there's my chance. Except I can't get through the rocks. So, moment lost, but I'm pretty sure he's not aware of me necessarily, except he can probably hear my engine. But he is definitely more concerned with the people that are shooting at him, so we're trying to move up to a position where we can see him to shoot him here. And sure enough, he's very distracted by the other guys shooting at him, thankfully. Which gives us time to maneuver into position and let him have it. Then I anticipated him coming back after me, of course, why wouldn't he? So we're driving back to get these rocks and stuff on the right side of me and be somewhat screened from anyone sneaking up from a return trip, basically, to where that guy just was. Also, it should give me a slightly better view into the battleground, which is what I'm actually trying to watch. And again, more just binocularizing the horizon here without much really happening. So at this point, I backed up to go and take a look, just make sure that there wasn't that guy in the M4A4 coming back. And sure enough, I spot a Sherman on the side of a building. My first shot hits him in the transmission and takes him out, and then I'm trying to move to relocate and get a better shot at him while he's frozen there to hopefully get an angle where I can shoot him, but he cannot return fire. And of course, I'm unable to achieve that because of a combination of the terrain that I'm working with and the fact that this thing just isn't meant to have gun depression. So now there are enemy tanks marked on the map, so I try to give my team a little bit of support here first. And then don't see anybody, so move back and try to get in a position to fire at the Sherman, which at this point I'm sure has to be the first guy that I killed. And of course it is, because you can see his name in the replay, but during the battle I didn't know that it was in fact him, although obviously I was very suspicious that it was going to be the only guy who could really know that I was there. So couldn't actually see him through here. Took a chance at shooting, hoping that I would at least take the tree down, if not hit him. Did take the tree down, which then uncovered where I could actually see him. Get a good shot into him here and knock out his two front hull dudes, and then try to get a couple follow-up shots here that unfortunately both hit the building, even though I didn't change my aim point. Just the RNG was not with me here. So then I relocated to get a better angle on him again, because I figured by this point I can keep trying to shoot and test the RNG, but all that's going to happen is it's just going to keep missing and hitting the house. And eventually he'll get repaired and be able to move out and get shots at me. So another check of the battlefield, don't see anything obvious, and move down to a position where I can hopefully see something to shoot at. Now, in the actual battle, I didn't knock this tree over. That's an idiosyncrasy of the replay system. So real quick, if you guys don't know how the replay system works, it's not an actual replay of the battle that you played. It's a bunch of bots live driving a script that is supposed to contain all the moves and battles and stuff, that motions that you've made, if you can believe that. So these are bots refighting the fight that I've already fought, not an actual replay of what I did. And that's why that tree got knocked over, because in the replay the bot got too close and knocked the tree over. In the real battle, I actually didn't knock that tree over, which is just an interesting thing about War Thunder's replay system. However, in the meantime, I was able to knock out our boy there with the M4A4 respawned in the M4 Tipo. He left the battle after that, so I was like, okay, good, I'm free and clear. The last guy who knew where I was, assuming he wasn't marking the map, is gone out of the battle, so he won't be coming after me anymore. And I did take a hit while I turned around and was driving away. I promise it wasn't because I knocked the tree over. The guy just saw me and saw me shooting at the other guy. So I'm up here scanning for where he was, and it is the Panzer IV that you could see a minute ago. But he has since moved and is moving in among all those buildings, and I can't see him right now. But he will come into play again. There he is. He just took a shot at me. He missed. I get a view at him. Now watch this shot. It just flies off into the ether, apparently, and then he hits me, knocks out my gunner, but thankfully that's all he did. And thankfully I was able to reverse just fast enough to get out of the way of his follow-up shot. And I can hear and see the flashes of the Ostwind firing away there, but I couldn't ever get a good enough clear shot at him through all the trees and rocks to actually be able to fire at him. I just missed a shot at that Ostwind. Take another hit from somebody. I assume it's our guy in the Panzer IV. And you can see in the replay that's who shot at me. Try to reverse, get stuck on the wreck of the M4A4, and then luckily his follow-up shot dropped short on the rocks and doesn't hit me because I thought I was toast there. There's the Dicker Max I mentioned earlier. I didn't spot him here yet, but you'll know when I do spot him because I shoot at him. And there we go. It was a pretty sweet shot though, but it had more of a... It was just more impactful when you couldn't tell what I was aiming at until I was like, oh, there's a target, and then shot at him. So one thing that's kind of neat about the replay at the moment, they do show you anything that's been spotted with the little binocular icon on it. So I'm looking right here, just under my binoculars, it looked like there was an enemy vehicle sitting there, and then I switched my aim point over to the damaged Ostwind. Sorry, Whirlwind. And after a shot adjustment, we drop the shot right in where it needs to go. And there's our 4th kill of the battle to go along with the assist on that lasagna Panzer. So moving back in to support what's going on over here with the A point. As you can see, we've got friendlies on A, and there's also an enemy marked on the map. So I'm just searching back and forth, waiting for him to show up. Take a pot shot at what I thought was an enemy, but what ended up just being like a corner of a house that I couldn't see fully. And then just observing here, you can obviously see with the replay where an enemy is. There's a dead tank in front of him that I shot at and hit. I thought I could see something moving, but then after I shot and didn't hit him, I thought, okay, all I'm seeing is a dead tank. Turns out I did actually see an enemy behind the dead tank, but unfortunately it was too late and we lost our friendly there. But then our friend in the Panzer IV drove out in the open and I got a good, nice side shot into him, and that was the ace kill of the battle. From here, they start taking the Charlie point, and I decided, alright, 5 kills, that's probably good. I'll roll in, see if I can take Alpha back, and just defend from inside the town now. We're getting towards the end of the battle, their tickets are pretty low, I ought to be able to hold. And if I get killed at this point, our tickets are good enough that I should be able to respawn and keep fighting with the rest of the vehicles in my lineup. So I rolled in as fast as I could, using what cover was available. Trying to get up to Alpha, look back behind me. There's a teammate who had moved in behind me, so I've at least figured I've got some cover from up on the overlook and try to get to Alpha. And while we're holding Bravo, but we started decapping Charlie away from them, that pretty much guaranteed the battle there. So they've got no points held, and their tickets are bleeding away rapidly as their teammates are getting killed. And they have no control points anyway, and the battle would actually end before I got to the point. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.